Congratulations on the project.
Thank you.
It's an amazing movie. It's really intense. It's really crazy. Mary said at the premiere that she'd been working on it for a really long time. I'm curious about when you got involved in the project.
I came on, she had been, working on it. I think it was 7 years total from the time we started. So I probably came on a year in advance. And she actually waited for me because of my own schedule. She sent me this script, through my agent, and I just couldn't believe that I was sent it. I was like, oh my goodness, it read so well. It was one of those scripts I had to kind of put down at certain times and go, what just happened, and reread it. And there were so many twists and turns, and the more surreal aspects of the movie were definitely on the page as well. And it's very elevated when you see it, but it's very much there when you read it already. And I was so intrigued by it. And then once I spoke to Mary, and it's a very personal story to her, so that was always a great touchstone. As a nosy actress, you want all the information, and she was extremely candid with me. And we had a great rehearsal process. You don't often get to rehearse, and for a small movie or a big movie or a TV show or anything, really only if you're doing a play. It was more similar to a play in that it was like 2 months of going to her house, and we would just work 3 or 4 days a week and for hours on end and just talk, and often just tell stories about being a mother or our kids, but we went through every paragraph. So when we got to set, it was great because we sort of talked about everything, so we just jumped off. Yeah.
I'm curious about, in the rehearsal process, how you developed the physicality of Linda, because I think part of what's so remarkable about the movie is it's a lot of you in close-up for so much of it. And how
way too close.
I'm sort of like, how do you develop the face of Linda?
Well, I was obsessed with who she was before the crisis. That was my whole thing. Like, who is this woman before? Because crises reveals who you are. So it's like, who was this person before? So that was really fun and important for us. And I have my own dramaturg I work with, so I worked with her on that too. And that for me informed so much of her behavior during this trauma that she was experiencing. And then the technical aspect of it, I love the technicality of film and figuring that out with the cinematographer, but she's so disassociated, Linda, from her body and herself, and that was more the intuition I had with her physicality in a way. And yeah, on the first day, the camera was so close to my face, and I said, does it have to be that close to my face? I'm as vain as the next person. And she was like, yes. I said, okay. And then that was it. I didn't really ask again. And then when I saw the movie, I was like, oh, that's what you were doing.
The other, I think, really remarkable sort of formal conceit with the movie is that Linda is having this crisis with her daughter, who we often hear in the movie but don't see. Did you know that sort of going into the project that was part of it?
Yeah, Mary always had a very clear idea, which is a very bold, cinematic choice to not see the daughter, and it's about this relationship and this crisis she's having with her child, and she she was confident it would work, but you never know. But for me, I had my scene partner there the whole time, Delaney Quinn. She's a gorgeous actress, and she and she was there. I rehearsed with her when she came into audition. We went through a process, and it was very important for Mary and I to always have her. She was there the whole time.
Cool.
So
okay.
It always felt like to me she was on camera. You know what I mean? It was like. And then when I saw it, it's very powerful that it's the reveal at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like sometimes even when we hear her, she's even like, her voice is pitched up a little bit, even louder than she would be just 2 feet away or something like that.
She came to the premiere, Delaney, and as soon as it started, she got very overwhelmed and quite emotional. It was very sweet, I think, because it starts with her voice, and it's heartbreaking, makes me cry. She's very moving in it, and she did a great job. She's very brave, which is a word that's overused, but she really was. She's a great little actress.
Yeah, I was going to ask also about the scenes you have on the phone with your husband in the film.
Oh yeah, a lot of phone calls.
And if you were doing those sort of in real time.
Yeah, because they're so hard. I find if you in real life when you're on the phone, you act so differently. If you were doing a movie and the person's not there, it's just like you're a talking head, and I can really sense that. And so it was very important, and particularly if you're talking to your partner, and the how grating it can become on the phone and stress and so it was like a lot of that, and she's very angry with the husband a lot of the time. So I was very mean to
there's a
Christian.
A lot of realistic hanging up.
Yes, a lot of that.
Sentence.
A lot of like tantrums, like hanging up on him. So that was very important that we had Christian again. He was so game. He'd rehearse with us, and he was always available. That was part of the deal. Like, you got to do all these phone calls.
I'm curious, so much of the movie is about sort of what Linda hears as a mother and is being told or guided that then sort of informs how guilty she does or doesn't feel. Did that feel sort of true to your experience as a parent of just constantly being told how you should be doing
Yes,
things?
totally. And interestingly, a lot of people have said, which I've enjoyed hearing, that even if you're not a parent, the idea of drowning in futility of your situation and not being able to get on top of it in a time of crises, and whether you're a parent or not, and that feeling of suffocation, of losing your agency and burnout, and that, I feel she really captured that, because it's such a specific story as a parent. Most parents won't have gone through what Linda has gone through, but overall, as being a person, I think it's been nice to see people be able to relate to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other sort of really sort of stressful aspect of the movie is this big hole in the ceiling of her apartment. I'm curious, as two people who both spend a lot of time in New York, and dare I say New York apartments, if you've ever had any kind of crazy maintenance
I've
issues.
never had, I've had a lot of mice. Oh my God, I had a really bad mice situation at one place. They were just like crawling over my feet at one point. It was disgusting. I had a friend in New York in her apartment, and it happened to her. The ceiling fell through, just like in the movie. I couldn't believe it. It was right before I started, and she was sending me this footage of these guys in crazy hazmat suits coming in to, and I was like, what is it? I was like, I'm literally about to do this film about this woman who's, I love the kind of exploration of these, whether it's the hole in her ceiling, what her daughter's going through. The script always had a beautiful symmetry about it in representing these things, and it offers a lot of questions, not answers. But for me, I just related so deeply to that, and the sort of the subconscious of that, and I think she beautifully portrays it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I wanted to ask about Conan O'Brien, who's in the movie.
The national treasure. Him and Keanu.
Playing your therapist, who's
I know.
very withholding. I imagine you guys knew each other just sort of professionally.
I did, I'd done his show a few times, and he was very charming and lovely. And he was, Mary had a sort of a creative vision of him, and I too was taken aback, like, oh my goodness. And he was so collaborative and very respectful and very serious about the job. Very serious, took it very seriously, really rehearsed with Mary extensively before I could engage, because I was shooting on something else. So he was, I think, excited to try something new. I feel like it was a feeling of being radical and saying yes to something, and he really delivers. And it's not like him at all. It's very counterintuitive. The therapist is not a great therapist. And Conan is, in a way, when you're just talking to people all day on a show, it's a form of therapy a little bit too. He's just hearing people talk about themselves in those shows.
Yeah, the job of a late night host is to make people feel good.
Exactly.
Kind of,
yeah,
the therapist in this movie maybe don't.
And the therapist in this movie is in his own way experiencing burnout, and he's not helping her. It's like at the end of their sort of journey together.
Yeah.
If there were anyone who's been in therapy and gone through those relationships, it's a very funny portrayal, and very, very dark, but very funny.
Yeah. People keep asking me how he is in the movie, and I'm like, well, he's not funny. And I'm like, but on purpose, which then becomes really funny.
It's great, because you expect one thing, and he's such a recognizable figure. You walk down the street with him and he's accosted. He's so beloved, and it's a great ask of the audience that they have to adjust and see this restraint and tension on him that is, I think, it worked very well.
Yeah. Throughout your career, you've sort of moved through the independent film space. You've done TV, you've done these really big comedies. I'm curious just how you approach projects and how you decide sort of what mode you want to be in. Theater as well.
Yes. It's what comes your way and what doesn't. I always wanted to do comedy. That was a big thing. Having loved performers myself, I grew up watching Fawlty Towers, and I loved John Cleese, and I loved Julie Louis-Dreyfus, and I've always been a big comedy fan. So that was a big turning point, being able to start to work in that genre more. I admire comedic actors. I think it's very hard, and to make it look effortless, I still feel enamored by those performances as a viewer. It's an intuition, I think, a little. It really is like, and a lot of your career is defined by what you don't do as well. What doesn't come your way, or what you say no to. I love coming to Sundance. I was just saying backstage, it's so lovely to be here and celebrate independent movies, and it feels very joyous at a time where we need it. So happy to be here.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you have any favorite memories from going to film festivals here or elsewhere.
Well, the first time I came here, I was 18, and I was with this movie called Two Hands, and it was Heath Ledger and I, and we were like 18 years old, and it was a really beautiful, funny crime caper Australian film directed by Gregor Jordan and written by him. And we came here, and we were like a couple of kids from Sydney, and it was before he, really blew up. I remember just snowboarding together and going to the movie and wondering what would happen, and it's a really core memory of like my early career, and I really treasure that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's whispers that Sundance is moving.
I heard Dubai.
Yeah. There we go.
It's good.
I was going to ask where you think it should go. There we go.
I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah. Wow, that'd be
We
great.
should take a vote. Where should it go? I don't know. Well, no, someone last night said to me Cincinnati, but I'm totally
Boulder,
starting rumors. I've got no idea.
It's like Cincinnati or Boulder. Or
okay.
Cities
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
all thinking of constantly.
Yeah.
That could really be on the map.
Oh,
Yeah.
I guess it's. I mean, it's just outgrown a little bit the space of what it can handle. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, well, it's such a beautiful place to come into. I was flying in like, wow, just breathtaking. Yeah.
And then I want to end with one other question kind of related to the movie. There's a lot of stress eating in this movie.
It's a lot of stress, everything. I know.
That's true, yeah.
But no, the pizza eating was a big sequence we were very technical about. Like when that whole sequence, the discussions we had about pizza eating was hilarious. The cheese, where it goes, this, that, what, did it fall off? Did it come back on? Like this whole opening sequence. I loved all that. That was so funny. And a lot of stress drinking too. A lot of like smoking pot and drinking, and that kind of, she's constantly trying to escape, just escape her situation, whether it's through this breath work she tries to do. It's just this constant adrenaline that is kept up of like trying to escape her situation, which was we had to track kind of technically in a way to see, because and I work very closely with Sarit Klein, our makeup artist, who was brilliant, to get that visual look on her, to start to look sort of vampiric by the end, but not too much. It's that fine line of like someone starting to look really crazy, but not like they're actually in a horror movie.
Yeah. Wait, just bouncing off that, I had a question about makeup and hair. As someone who has also previously grown out an undercut, I was curious if that...
How long did it take you to grow out an undercut?
Like a year and a half or something.
I really appreciate you noticing my undercut.
Was that a character choice, or was this something
That was my choice. Oh, no, I had strong feelings about that choice of somebody who does that.
Yeah, it really felt like the right... For this character, she wants no hair on the back of her neck.
Yeah, it felt like, for me, I really am fascinated by people who do that. Because I have friends who do it because their hair is thick, or they just want to have it flat. Yeah. And then others, it's like a fashion choice.
Yeah.
So I like to know.
It sort of felt like with Linda that like if one errant hair touched the back of her neck, that would be like
enough to set her off. Yeah. Took me a year to grow it out.
It takes forever.
I
It's
know.
it's like never worth it.
I know.
Or maybe it is for some, but it wasn't for me.
Not for, well, yeah. I think the reveal in the movie is funny to me. I always get a kick out of it.
Yeah, because it's like halfway through when the hair starts to be up, we're like, oh, whoa, she's been planning this.
Yeah, she's a child of the 90s. Look at that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Rose.
Thank you, Fran. Thank you so much for coming.
This was great.